I think that getting back together as COVID restrictions start to ease up is so important to our hobby and important to our association and the National Model Railroading Association. I encourage you to do that. I have, and I've shared with this before, I have a strong appreciation for the positive influence that NMRA brings to our hobby, especially in the areas of standards and product conformity, but also education and advancing modeling techniques and so forth. But most importantly, I've really come to value the friendships that I've made along the way, friendships that frankly would not have occurred without my participation in NMRA. So whether you're a member of a formal organized club or just a regular group of modelers that get together in somebody's house or basement every now and then, or if you tend to be a lone wolf modeler, I'd encourage you as time goes on to get together as you feel comfortable and share the fellowship of the NMRA. That's really, I think, the glue that holds all this together. And I feel really good about where our association is heading. To badly paraphrase one of those one-hit wonder bands from the 80s, our future's so bright we've got to wear shades. A few months ago in the switch list, I shared with you some information about the NMRA's new strategic plan. I believe that the plan has some really exciting focal points for our association that are not only going to bring value to membership in the NMRA, but I think also is going to really help our longevity and staying viable as an association, and focuses on growing our membership, something we've talked about quite a bit. And I know at the national level, they're developing metrics to measure and track the success of some of these strategic initiatives as we're going forward. I'd like to just in a couple of minutes briefly share three things that I'll be giving leadership to at the PNR level during the coming year. And I say this kind of in priority order for me. The first is a renewed focus on strengthening our divisions and supporting our division superintendents in their efforts with training and other support. To overstate the obvious, the division level is where the rubber meets the road. Division activities, events, and so forth is where most people would identify the most important aspect of their NMRA involvement. So I really want to focus on helping our 7 superintendents, and I know we've got some that'll be changing seats this year. So we're going to want to help them in support of their efforts, particularly at the training level. The second is I'm interested in creating at the region level a new education committee, and my vision for this education committee would be to help us catalog a list of quality clinics and presentations that can be made available online and for in-person meets and activities, and share this throughout the PNR. I also see this committee obviously being able to host or to help, I should say, the host committee with clinics in support of our annual convention. We're going to be hearing a little bit more about next year's convention in just a couple of minutes. I know that NMRA has online EduTrain, and they're always looking for contributions. I think our education committee and at the PNR level could take a real leadership role in providing some of those things, because we've got outstanding clinicians and presentations in our region. We just need to get them cataloged. I'm also interested through this education committee in facilitating an approved modeling with the master's program, and get that spread out across our region. Jack Hamilton, who you'll hear from a little bit later, has been working on this, has come up with some great suggestions, and I think he's already sent out a couple of surveys to kind of figure out where the best location to hold those are. And last, but probably most importantly, asked this new education committee to help us develop programs that really appeal to younger modelers. And I think that probably includes stressing some of the current technology and tools and procedures that are not only here, but some that are coming up on the horizon. So education committee formulation and implementation is going to be a real important part of our strategy, and our board at our next meeting will be talking in a little more detail about how to actualize that, how to make it work. And then the third thing that I want to focus on during this next year is help our divisions take advantage of the NMRA's achievement program as a way to improve the educational opportunities and modeling skills of our members. You heard me say earlier today that Jack Hamilton's going to have a really interesting clinic on how to get involved in this, particularly how to earn your MMR with the minimal amount of paperwork. And in the coming weeks, coming months, you're going to be hearing much more about how we're going to emphasize the AP program as part of continuing education, not just a plaque and a bunch of certificates you can put on the wall, but approach it from an education perspective. I want all of you to know how pleased and honored I am to be able to serve as your PNR president and work with our wonderful division superintendents and our very talented executive board. We've got a group of men and women on our board that are just really extraordinary modelers and have such great appreciation and make enormous contributions to our hobby. And it's really a privilege for me to be part of that group. That concludes my portion of the report. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Sterling Millar, our PNR secretary, who's got just a couple of comments. Sterling?
Here we are.
Yeah, I was on mute like usual when I start a Zoom meeting.
Hi, Sterling.
There was no annual meeting last year, and so there was nothing to bring back on the report there. And I started in as secretary in December here, so that is all that I have to report at this point.
Thank you, Sterling. I will point out that on our PNR website, which you can reach a variety of ways, including through the NMRA national website, we post not only our annual reports from all of the officers, but we also post our meeting minutes and so forth. So if you're interested in seeing the kind of things that the board has been working on, you can go to that website. All right, next we have the treasurer's report. Aaron?
Okay, I'm going to be kind of short and quick with this, not much to present. I went through and took over as treasurer in the middle of 2019, so about 2 years ago. This first slide is our income and expense report, also known as a profit and loss. I want to call attention to two different spots over here. One is this dark blue line here, which is our income. You will see that very parallels this orange line here, which is our convention income, which given the pandemic has been non-existent for a couple years now. So our income is dropping down, and yet our expenses overall are going up in part because of dealing with some of the legal stuff that has to happen within an organization. So on the balance side of things, our investments are, I've been working with our investment agency to keep them a little more active, kind of boost some of the income potentials off of them. However, we are seeing a small decline in our liquid assets, but I've managed to mellow those out over the last couple of years. So we're holding our own, barely. Increasing in membership would definitely be an assistant. Increasing convention attendance, and we can hold conventions, will be awesome. End of report.
Okay. Any questions from PNR members for Aaron on our financials? Russ, sorry to put you on the spot here. You're gonna have to look, or maybe Victor Gilbert can help with that. Yeah. You know, I think the critical issue that Aaron has pointed out is clearly we really haven't had any income over the past 2 years because both of our conventions have been canceled. The other thing that you need to know about our expenses is that PNR, like all the regions, actually gets a stipend twice a year from NMRA based on our membership. I believe, Aaron, it's $1 per regular member twice a year. Our PNR board some years ago decided not to keep that money at the regional level, but to pass it on to the divisions where there's actually a need for it. So when Aaron refers to some of the legal requirements we have, that's the biggest one, and it's self-inflicted. And of course, you know, there are other issues that we need to keep up with, particularly now that we're doing so much stuff online. We needed to buy some Zoom licenses and those sorts of things.
So Jeff, to kind of clarify on that, it is $1 per US member from NMRA. We get nothing out of Canada Model Railroading.
But we do send them money, correct?
We do division support to Canadian divisions in lieu of $1 per member. So that particular line item will be a continuing losing expense. I had a question from Bill Fassett. Principal cause of increased expenses having to do with legal and insurance. We made the decision as a board to protect the executive committee against lawsuits brought on predominantly by the pandemic should somebody get sick at a convention or other NMRA event sponsored by PNR. And that's been the primary cause, that and division support. So that's where it's at, Bill.
Okay, any other questions? Russ, do you see any other questions?
No.
Okay. Well, Aaron, thank you for your report. And as Aaron's indicated, we really don't have any financial problems, that actually being able to hold a convention and charging a gate fee would not solve it. I know the divisions have got the same challenges at the moment. So at this time, let's ask for a report from our office manager on our membership update. Ed?
Okay, thank you, Jeff. This is as of the end of July. These are our membership figures. We have a total number of members of 1,432, 18 of which are Rail Pass. We had 81 new members, 27 of which were Rail Pass. And unfortunately, we did lose about 24 over the past year through death. So we also lost a number of them through moving or just leaving the hobby, which we don't understand that, but that's the way it goes. That's really about it for a short report.
Any questions for Ed on membership? All right, thank you, Ed. Well, I've got some great news for everybody. As you know, in years past when we've met in person, we've had an opportunity to present some special awards on behalf of the NMRA and on behalf of PNR, and we're going to be able to do that on screen. The physical presentations actually will be made a little bit later on when we can all get back together in person and make them a little bit more meaningful. But I do want to make the announcements of those awards today, and at least flash some smiling pictures on your screen. The first, you probably have heard about the National President's Award for service to the division. 2021 was the 5th year that we were able to present this award, and arguably it's a little bit more significant this year because of COVID. The award is presented to just a few folks in the NMRA, a maximum of 1 per region, who volunteer because it's the right thing to do and don't go out and seek any kind of recognition for it. And this year's recipient is Charlie Hutto of the 1st Division. Charlie couldn't be any more active in the 1st Division. Besides being on the division board, he also edits their newsletter. He's the tech chair for all their division events, and has actually become even more importantly lately because they've been doing all these virtual meetings. So congratulations to Charlie, who is the recipient this year of the National President's Award for service to the division. Charlie from 1st Division.
My apologies.
Congratulations, Charlie, on your award, and thank you so much for your service. As you know, at our conventions, when we meet in person, it's the PNR President's privilege to present the PNR President's Award. And this year, our award goes to Jack Hamilton. It would really be hard to find a person who epitomizes the dedication to our hobby and the region more than Jack Hamilton. He's certainly a household name among modelers in the region and at the national level. He served as the Western Director and Worldwide at-large Director on the NMRA Board of Directors. He served as President of our region. While he was President of the PNR, he was also the PNR Achievement Program Chair and the 4th Division Program Chair. Jack is probably the single most promoter that I know, biggest promoter of the AP program. If Jack hasn't talked to you about the AP program yet, it's just because he hasn't been able to track you down. Under Jack's leadership, the PNR has consistently had a high number of people earning achievement certificates and the MMR. At the division level, he's instituted a program of quarterly make and take clinics that were extremely successful. He's an outstanding communicator. He's written innumerable articles for the NMRA magazine under the well-known now pseudonym of the Tool Junkie. He's led efforts at the national, regional, division levels to increase new member retention and new membership. He served as the co-chair of the 2004 National Convention in Seattle, and one of the things that just makes me chuckle every time I think about this, during that convention, he convinced his wife Donna to wash all the staff shirts every night during the convention, so staff members were well dressed in the morning when the convention got up and going again. Seriously, if you need a job done that has anything to do with model railroading or the NMRA, Jack is the person to ask. He's always there, willing to help whenever and necessary to the future of the hobby. Congratulations, Jack, on receiving this award, and thank you so much for your service. I know Jack is rarely without comment, so I'll give Jack an opportunity to make a brief comment about receiving this award. Jack?
Really want me to talk?
Well, not really, but it sounds obligatory.
Well, I thank you very much. I appreciate the honor and the recognition, but generally speaking, none of those things happen without the aid, the assistance, and the support of other fellow members who have actually done the hard work, and I get the credit. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. We appreciate your leadership and your service. And then the last is an announcement of a presentation that was recently made. The NMRA President's Award was presented to our own D. Voss from 4th Division. D, as you know, is an MMR. His award was because of his service as manager of the Standards and Conformance Department. That department, as you know, works on the maintenance of NMRA standards, recommended practices, conformance certification, and frankly, That group probably is the group that got the primary purpose of the establishment of the NMRA. Dee's effort in this department have continued to really to provide a benefit for all of us. It's so neat when you can go to a hobby shop and buy something and bring it home and it actually works on your layout, and that's because of the work that Dee's department does. So Dee, congratulations to you, and thank you as well for the service to our hobby and the NMRA. Dee, I think you're on. If you'd like to make a comment, that would be appropriate as well.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we've got a presentation from Rich Pitter, who is the superintendent of our first division. Rich is going to be telling us about what to anticipate for our next in-person, yay, convention in the spring of 2022, which used to sound a long way away. So Rich, I'll turn the screen over to you.
Thank you. The convention will be held in May 11 to 14 in 2022. The 11th is Wednesday. We will have the PNR board meeting and an icebreaker in the evening. It will be held at the Valley River Inn in Eugene. It's adjacent to Valley River Center, a large shopping center. And that adds the convenience of shopping, some restaurants just across the parking lot from the convention hotel. We plan to have the normal group of clinics Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning, 3 clinic rooms in parallel. So there will be a lot of clinics. Here we go. Next slide, please. We will have an evening clinic, mini clinics, and we will have also a session for making model railroad structure. I'll get to that in a minute. We have a model contest as usual. We have the PNR model chair contest chair. Christopher Christopher Jones is in charge of the model contest. We will have layout tours. One nice thing is we will have a modular railroad layout, a Primo layout in the convention, operated by the Roseburg Group, the Umpqua Valley Model Railroads. It's Primo in all standards. It operates with NCE rather than Digitrack, and I know that some purists say it has to be Digitrack to be Primo. It can operate with Digitrack, but the people in charge of the Umpqua have decided that NCE works for them. We're going to have operating sessions where people in the convention can sign up to operate on their layout operating sessions. We will also have an OPSIG group there to help people learn more about operating procedures. We have a non-rail program for significant others, and that will be active. And I hope we can all come out, shake off the cabin fever that we've had for the last year and a half, 2 years, and begin to make new friends and reacquaint ourselves with others. I'll have a few slides here showing the facilities. Next slide, please. Thank you. The Valley River Inn has nice restaurants, Sweetwater's on the river. I'll show a slide of that later. It's right adjacent to Valley River Center. Next slide. It is a convenient, modern, attractive hotel that's suitable for conventions, meetings. Next slide. It's located on the riverfront, the Willamette River, and at the top of the screen, you can see the parking lot for the shopping center. It has a swimming pool. In May, especially you Canadians who are used to cold temperatures, you may want to get a nice swim in. Next slide. It has a large foyer, large room for a large area for social interactions. We will have our icebreaker in this area. We have, like I said, 3 meeting rooms, a contest room, a model train layout room, and there will be nearby also a non-rail room for the action. Thank you. The Sweetwaters by the Rivers is riverside. It has a patio and an indoor area. We will have ample convention. This is probably much larger than we would use. We would probably divide this into 2, but we will have 3 parallel conventions centers. For those of you who are coming, they have the option of a king size bed or 2 queen size beds or a suite. Some of them have river views, some of them have pool views. And next slide. Finally, here we will have a moderately priced banquet. Now, for those of us who go back 30 years, moderate pricing means a little bit different number. But this is a modest price, and it has very fine food. And we have a guest speaker coming, Duncan Campbell, the owner of Campbell Scale Models, which is located in southern 1st Division area near Bedford, has concurred to agreed to speak. And finally, we have this maintenance of the way structure made by Motrak Models, produced by Motrak Models. It's a $38 kit, and we are going to have opportunities for people to build this if they wish at the convention. We may turn this into a modeling with the masters. Jack, I need somebody, a master model rubber to volunteer. Thank you. Or somebody else who has MMR after their name to lead the assembly of this relatively simple but iconic type of structure that you can find on layouts anywhere from the 1870s to the 1950s easily. I'll take any questions that you have. Oh, registration. Our registration is not yet open. We are setting it up so it'll be online or optional mail in for people who choose to do so. Registration, it should be operative by the 1st of October. We are still working on the final pricing to make sure that we don't lose money. Unfortunately, things go up. The motel has offered us rooms at the same price that they offered us at the for the 2020 convention, which we had to rudely pull the plug on. And the motel fees for holding the convention are at the same price. So we're hoping we can get 150 model railroaders coming in, and as you saw from Aaron Gibbons, this is an important increase to the PNR funds. The question I see on the screen is there going to be a train show? We had originally intended the convention to be held aside, senior moment here. Coincident with a train show at another location held by one of the local groups. This will not be possible. We may have a few vendors, but I haven't arranged anything with that at this time. We do have model layout tours planned. I don't have any information about a silent auction, Andy. If you want to set it up, get in touch with me and we'll work on that. Any other questions from the group? I think I have about 30 seconds left. If not, I will release the rest of my time to the floor. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Rich. We're really looking forward to this convention. It'll be the first time we've all gotten together in actually more than 2 years by the time we're in Eugene, and we're really looking forward to the leadership and the presentation of the First Division. As Rich mentioned, if any of you would like to assist or help, there'll be plenty of opportunities between now and then to sign up and let your voice be heard. We've got a couple of minutes left in our meeting. I do want to give any of our superintendents that have not spoken yet an opportunity, if they so desire, to mention a few things about their division. I know Rich and First Division are all focused on the coming convention, so I'll just move on to Second Division. Jeff Schultz, anything that that you'd like to report at this time in western part of Oregon? Don't see Jeff. Tom has been working behind the scenes all day, and in fact for months now in the Third Division. Thank you again, Tom, for the presentations today, the clinics, the layout tours, and so forth. Anything else, Tom, you'd like to add?
I'd like to thank Russ for his technology and putting this all together. And obviously all of our members here that either put on a clinic or a layout tour. We really appreciated all that effort.
Thanks, Tom. Russ in the Fourth Division.
I would comment that we've been fairly successful with maintaining our membership down a little bit, but thanks to Burr Stewart and several others, Bill Messicar, we've had the ongoing series of layout tours, and all of our clinics have been virtual, although we're shut down for the 2 months during the summer. We expect to go back to a series of online meetings in September. Most of our clinics will be virtual, with perhaps the exception of Mount Vernon, that has secured a really nice facility, and they think they'll be able to open certainly by October. I mentioned on the money side, actually, our treasurer, Robin Peel, reports that we've had a significant amount of growth in our savings because we put it in a stock fund about 18 months ago. And so we're in pretty decent shape now, it's assuming that we don't get hit with a big downturn in the market. But no, we're in good shape.
Thank you, Russ. Fifth Division, Bill Fassett, who I think is about to graduate after 4 years of serving as superintendent? Bill?
Yes, I certainly am. And I want to thank my fellow officers of the 5th Division. I will be succeeded by Peter Armstrong, who has been serving as assistant superintendent. Peter is from Lewiston, Clarkston area, and I think he'll do a great job for the division. And I want to thank my fellow superintendents and members of the board in the region for all of their good fellowship and for their support over the last 4 years. You know, every time somebody starts off as a superintendent, at least in my case, and you know, I didn't know much about being a superintendent. I had a lot of good models to follow and a lot of help, and I appreciate it very, very much. I'm looking forward to continuing working in the division as I'll continue to run our website, and I'll continue to and I will be serving as the division AP chair. There will be, in addition to the October 10th train show, which is sponsored by River City Modelers, which is a 100% NMRA club in Spokane, the Missoula Model Railroad Club has announced that they will be holding their annual train show in September 26th in Missoula. And that coincides with the Northern Pacific Railway Historical Association convention. For those of you that are in the NPRHA, a lot of us tend to be in a lot of others. There will be a good opportunity to see a tremendous layout out there, the modeling of the NP on the Mullen Pass by one of our members. The Lewis and Clark Club has lost their meeting place, a not uncommon experience for NMRA clubs. And so they are currently meeting informally, and they're still taking their N-scale module around. If any of you happen to have any connections in the Lewiston, Clarkston Valley and know of a place that they might look at, Peter would love to hear from you. So thank you all. Look forward to seeing you in Eugene.
Thanks, Bill, and congratulations on selection of a new superintendent. And thank you for 4 years of service. That's a wonderful and important commitment. Okay, Ed Mullenkamp, 6th Division out of Alberta. Find Ed. I think I saw his picture before.
There we go.
There he is.
Forgot. The majority of the 6th Division's shows and events are in the spring, and I've received a lot of emails saying that everything's full forward in the spring, so I'm looking forward to that, as well as seeing all of your shiny faces in May.
Thanks, Ed. All right, and last but not least, 7th Division, also in Canada. John out of British Columbia.
Thank you, Jeff. We're alive and well up here, much to everyone's surprise. Our membership's down just a little as a result of not having any train shows or gatherings for the last while. But our November train show, the regular event here in the Lower Mainland, has been postponed until next year. And once those things crank up, we hope to get our numbers back up to a reasonable level. I guess you can probably see a gentleman named Victor Gilbert there on your screen. He has very kindly agreed to become the new superintendent of the 7th Division, pending an election, momentarily, Jack. And I think will be an excellent man for the job. Finally, I'd like to echo everything that Bill Fassett said. my sincere thanks to all of you for your support and assistance. It really is a pleasure being a member of both the PNR and the 7th Division. Been exposed to some tremendous new friendships, and it's a pretty fine bunch of guys. So thank you. Jack, did you have something to say?
Actually, yeah, for all of you who are have offerings in the way of train shows or events that would normally show up in the timetable on the website, until such time as we get timetable up and running, if you will let me know about those events, I will make sure that they get covered in train orders and was up.
Outstanding. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Okay, John, thank you. Appreciate it. This is kind of an unusual format for us since we really can't see everybody. What I would offer to you, if you are a member of the Pacific Northwest region and you've got any issues that you would like to have addressed by our board of directors, if you would be so kind as to put them in the chat room, in the little box there. We're monitoring that, and we will be sure to have that brought before the board for consideration. So if you've got something that normally you would want to stand up at one of our meetings and ask or mention, please use the chat room function for that, and I assure you we will get the information before our board of directors. I don't see anything in the chat room at the moment, and that really concludes the formal portion of our presentation. Since we're not really in a position to take a vote, I'm going to ask Russ Segner on our collective behalf to make a motion to close our annual membership meeting, and then we will move on. So Russ, I'll ask you to do that.
I so move.
All right, and I know Jack Hamilton has already seconded that, so we will take by vote of acclamation from our secretary to close our annual membership meeting. Thank you so much for your presentation.